Gosh, that's bright. It's currently 3 in the morning, which is when I wake up, and I'm totally fine. I'm in London, and I'm gonna meet my new agency now. I'm so happy to be here. I'm only staying here for 5 weeks basically, and if I'm having work here, I will stay longer. Because I don't think I have anything in New York, but I might still have options because I've been telling my agency in New York that I'm happy to go back there if I have clients that are regular clients that I want to keep, and also if I have like really nice jobs, I will just take a quick flight. But yeah, I'm happy to see what London in Milk has to offer and what I can do here. Hi, my name is Sarah Connell and I'm with Milk in London. In New York, I wanted to test, but it's not easy to come across whenever I first do a free test shoot. And when I talked about the ones where I have to pay, because it was $1,000. So I have my visa to think about because I have to renew it before January, and that is $4,000. I just biked for 30 minutes because I was thinking it's quicker than taking the train, and look at me. Oh gosh, this was not my finest moment, and honestly I would deserve it if I get sick. I hope I will not, but oh my gosh, my whole face is drenched and I couldn't. Day 4, unsurprisingly caught a cold, but I have a vegan Westwood casting today, and I'm so happy. Like I have castings all the time. You know, I came here without knowing if I would get a job. I've had stay before where in the first and second month nothing happened, like in New York in my previous video. Now that I'm traveling, I never expect anything, but seeing how many castings happen and how well they go, because these 2 first castings I had yesterday, they went really well. Maybe I'm gonna be working. There's a guy I just met who came from York, 2-hour train ride just for the casting, and they did not make me try anything, whereas they did make try clothes on some of the models. It doesn't mean everything, but most of the time it means that the interest is not strong enough to want to see what their garments are looking like on you. Well, it's not today, might be next Friday. Hi, my name is Sarah Connell and I'm with Milk in London. This is what I'm wearing. They wanted me to wear biker shorts, which I don't have, so this is my top, which I made as a makeshift skirt. It's actually not cold because of the sun, thank you very much, but I'm not gonna stay here long because I actually have to go to the last casting of the day.
Did you see? I got my first job confirmed. It's gonna be on the 17th and it's from the first casting I had here on Tuesday, on day 3.
Right, there's a little bit of a conundrum because Sam Edelman in New York told me to work with them for 3 days next week, but one of those days I'm actually working here and confirmed. I really wanted to make myself available for Sam Edelman because it's my regular client, but you know what, it's not gonna happen.
Today's episode of Being Real about the modeling industry, there is a client who hasn't paid me for 4 months. Obviously they have to pay by law, but anyway, I've decided to stay quiet, to not contact the client myself, because this is something I could have done, but I'm not too sure how wise that is. It's been 4 months now. If it starts to be 5 months, then obviously I'm not gonna stay quiet. I'm gonna remind them I exist. I'm trying to think of ways to be as cordial as possible because this is not my job to ask for money to the client directly. And trust that they are competent at the accounting team as well. Like, in as much as I need the money, they need it too because they take a percentage of my pay. It feels a bit silly to do my makeup again, but it's just making me look a little bit more polished and hiding some few blemishes because I have not been disciplined in my diet. My hair good for a hair job? I think it is. Okay, I have to go now because this weather is too unpredictable.
Tell us about your hair and like what you do with it after you wash it.
And that's week 2 over.
Week number 3, second day. So my skin is not nice. I'm starting to get more pimples. Here I have a scar, here, here I had one forming, now it's forming the scar. And now I just woke up, so my face is quite flat, but then throughout the day it's gonna get more texture. It's very difficult because everything is making my skin react. And even within fruits, I have to be careful with what I'm eating because too much sugar, breakouts. I came to a point where even when I had my period, I had 0 breakouts. So now I will not return to that dread and that agony of feeling insecure. And there was this casting last week that because it was for a skincare brand, they asked me to remove my makeup. I did, but I just felt uncomfortable. And I don't want this to happen again.
I wish I could start over, and I worry that I've messed up. The show was not what I expected, but it was better than last year's documentary situation. It's just that it lacked all the excitement and the hecticness. Like, you know, when it was backstage and they were like, Heidi, back in 3, 2, 1, okay. It made it so exciting. And also the audience, when they filmed them, they looked so absent. They were like no,
no, this is the VS show. People are supposed to be like, ah, they're supposed to be smiling, even the models. I feel like they were too stressed to really deliver the performance. Like Gigi was performative, Adriana Lima was, it lacked the whole, you know, how they used to do, or like, you know, this is VS. It's not like the fashion week. And okay, it's easy for me to do it in my bedroom when no eyes are on me, when there's no pressure. But you know what, I think it was a good change, a good comeback. And hopefully it will be better next year. And also the thing is that there's a possibility for me to participate in this, because come on, I had a casting for VS, even if it was not the show. Like the show is not too far from that. I mean, I don't know. Did you see that girl who was from Muse? She went to the casting. That was 2018, sure, but anyway, honestly, all of this is just for the sake of my young dreams, you know? I remember we were like, yeah, doing fashion shows with my family, or parents taking pictures of me and I was posing like
days seem sometimes as if they'll never end. Sun takes its heels to taunt you, but after sunlit days, one thing stays the same. Rises the moon. Days fade into a watercolor blur. Memories swim and haunt you, but look into the lake, shimmering like smoke. Rises the moon.
Yeah, he's great.
Oh, close your weary eyes. I promise you that soon the autumn comes to darken fading summer
Good morning.
skies.
Today is the start of my acting training and I'm so excited. To be fair, like I had one audition in 2022 for a feature film and it just didn't go well.
So you used to be in a band,
Yeah,
and you gave it up to become a photographer.
yeah, sort of.
Why'd you do that? Isn't it way cooler being in a band?
No.
During the audition, I was so nervous that I just kept smiling. I couldn't help but smile. And then I also had an Amazon ad where I had a single line in French, and also that time too I was too nervous.
Qu'est-ce que les entreprises peuvent faire pour combattre la crise climatique?
We've got a few ideas.
But I don't know if you can really call this acting. So today I'm going to properly train and I'm really excited. I'm going to Pinewood Studios. I think that's about as much as I'm allowed to show. So see you on the other side.
In the morning we started with learning some technical terms, and then in the afternoon she gave us scripts. We work in pairs and I'm playing a lawyer, and today we're gonna film it. Yesterday we were like trying out different versions. If I have the intention to kill, if I have the intention to flirt, if I have the intention to pee, just to see how one sentence or one scene can have a completely different flavor based on the mental gymnastic that is happening in my head. But yesterday I was looking up inspiration for how lawyers dress, and I'll try to replicate it with things I have here. We'll see how that goes. Silver jewelry, cold heart, maturity. Do I strike you as mature? As a mature lawyer? My gosh. Let me do that now before I forget.
Shouldn't that be Sir Nigel Fountain? I approve. So my question still stands.
He also turned himself in
Stevie, the walking.
3 days ago. He confessed because he's terrified. So terrified, in fact, that he'd rather be in prison.
Terrified of what?
The man Mr. Quirk wants you to find is Samuel Francis Johnson. You know him, I believe? Alright, I'm joking. Let me actually show you the proper reel.
What's this about?
Mr. Quirk's innocence is not the only unusual feature. He also turned himself in.
Stevie? A walk-in?
3 days ago.
So Stevie handed himself in, confessed, but he's innocent.
I was getting to that.
Alright, I'll actually do a full video unfolding what happened in the BTS and how it affected my performance, but for the moment, let's just keep going.
The lawyer's going home. It's very easy for me to feel comfortable when you are rehearsing, but when the cameras are there and the cameras are rolling, oh my goodness, the longer I stay there, the more nervous I get. Like, I struggle to remember my lines because when I was acting, I was looking all over the place, and my coach said, no, don't do that. I'm gonna give you 3 points. Look in his eyes, look there, and look there. And it was making me forget my lines because I was focusing on something else, and it's just so difficult. I'm used to be uncomfortable even if it looks good on camera. But that level, when it's a video, when you have to portray something true and natural and sincere and deep while being completely the contrary, what a challenge. What a challenge. It just makes me want to do it again. It's just very expensive to learn to act, so it's not something I'm gonna be rushing to do because I have other expenses, but wow.
Monday, I found out that the chicken I've been buying here had sugar in it. So that's why I had pimples. That's why I had breakouts. Because ever since I stopped eating it, my skin has reverted back to its glory. Could also be the water, because I've been drinking bottled water for the past week instead of the tap water. So there could also be a correlation here.
Hello, my name is Sarah Connell and I'm with Muse in New York, where I live and where I work as a local.
I just had a casting for a sub-brand of Perry Ellis, but look at what I'm wearing. I wrote in this. It was so hard to stay distant. It's like there's a problem of flashing and there's the problem of I don't want my ass to physically touch the seats, and it was just so hard and so uncomfortable. So I'm gonna look for trousers so that I can, you know, right to the next casting with grace. Responsible of the casting for the Ola Blex self-tapes just sent me an email thanking me for my video. This is so unusual. I feel so incredibly flattered, even more.
Hello, I'm Sarah Connell and I'm with Muse in New York City.
I'm going to the agency to say goodbye and chat about next year and what we're planning and what our hopes are.
My trip is coming to an end, and I thoroughly enjoyed my time in my former and beloved city, London. I've kept an open mind as to my business, and with my 17 castings in London compared to an average of 5 castings in a month in a regular situation, well, I was busy enough, but I don't think I can compare Milk to Neves yet, because one very first and intensive month cannot reflect the long-term reality. But still, following Ella to Milk was one of those decisions I'm so grateful to have taken, especially as she entirely reciprocates my enthusiasm. Now, as for the other agents, I've had little time to connect with them yet, but I believe that in the years to come, we'll get to know each other and enjoy working together as well. At the end, I only got one job, but it allowed me to use my income to pay for a test shoot. Not for $1,000, but still £400, which is an investment in myself because Sylvia was well worth it. For each shot that you see, she was not only the photographer, but she also did my styling, my makeup, and my hair. And when you see the final images at the end, you will see the results speak for themselves. As of today, I have modeled for 8 years, and there is still so much more I can and want to do. I have still so much to learn, and now acting has entered the picture too. And to be able to record this moment, this very beginning, the raw form of an experience yet to be honed. Today is the day I will look back at and remember, and thank God for the destination, and thank God for the journey, and thank